esteemed female black journalist herself, former colleague of Stephen A., knows him well, knows the NABJ, and knows the deal. Jemele, it's good to see you. It's been a minute.
Yeah, good to see you as well, Chris. Thank you for having me.
So take me through it.
Well, I'm not sure what there is to, what journey we want to be on here. Listen, for one, people need to understand that this is an award or a dubious distinction, I should say, that NABJ has given out since 1989. This is not the first year. They gave it out to more than just Stephen A. Smith. They have given it out to individuals before, but typically it's reserved for more institutions or organizations.
Right.
Like this year, obviously, I think it was CBS News,
Right.
Washington Post, they got it. Because there's been a bloodletting, and when it comes to a lot of black journalists who have lost their jobs. And people also have to understand that this is based off the past year. This is not a career retrospective, because I think if you hold up Stephen A.'s career in terms of what he has done for black journalists and for black journalism, I think he's had a pretty good record. I mean, he has become the face of ESPN. He's the $100 million man. I know personally from working at ESPN, he has given a lot of black journalists, producers, other people opportunities through his platforms to elevate themselves, to be in those positions of power that they might not have otherwise have been in if not for him signing off, if not for him putting in a good word. So like that has definitely happened. And so I don't think it would be good to challenge Stephen A. on his overall record as it relates to what he's contributed to this profession. But that being said, and this is where it gets a little dicey, and maybe why this conversation isn't great to have in public, is because you have done great things and because you have contributed in ways that are meaningful and lasting and impactful, that doesn't mean you're above criticism. And so there have been some times in the past year where I think a lot of people, as to use a expression, a bit of slang, is like they looking at him real funny in the light. And I think it is criticism that is worthy of being addressed and looked at and scrutinized. And I hope some of it he actually takes to heart, to understand that this was not an attack as much as it was a, hey, we might need to pull your coat to some things that you might not be realizing how you're appearing
Right.
when you're making some of these opinions and observations.
Well, here is the easy take is your first take, which is this is not the way to do it. There's a macro concern, and then there is a, let's call it a race concern, okay? Because that's the way Stephen A. sees it. The macro concern is they didn't say you've done a couple of things. They said that he has contributed to narratives and perceptions of black women. That is a big swing at him, and that hurt him personally as a father and a brother and a son. And I've never heard the organization or any organization say that about one of its members.
So again, this is why, and I never said that this conversation shouldn't be had in public necessarily, but it's just kind of unfortunate that it is, because I think it's a lot of nuance here that people aren't going to put it up in.
Yes, I agree.
In many ways, I mean, to be totally blunt, Chris, this is a family conversation.
That's the second issue, is that there is a perception, like, you know, I know Stephen A. well. I care about him a lot. I don't really have a role in this conversation. I'm not a black journalist. And that seems to be the elephant in the room, which is that Stephen A.'s being called out because you're a black journalist and you got to be careful how you go after your own versus how you go after the other. And that is a very tricky conversation.
Yeah, but you know what, Chris? It's one that we all live in. Like, I know being a black woman, especially because I have mostly trafficked in mainstream media spaces. Yes. You've been at CNN. You're in a pretty mainstream space now. I was at ESPN for 12 years. I write for The Atlantic. I appear on CNN. These are mainstream spaces. I already have the double consciousness to know there are certain things and certain topics and certain ways I want to go at things. I got to keep it in community, or I got to keep it on my own platform, because I know that there are some criticisms that I have that will be used and weaponized against my own community. And that's the part that I think that people are trying to address with Stephen A. nobody is saying don't criticize Jasmine Crockett. She's a politician, for crying out loud. You're supposed to criticize her. That is the part of the job, and I think she even understands that. But considering that you had so many people on the right who are attacking her demeanor, her diction, calling her ghetto, oh, crazy Laura Loomer, calling her Shaniqua, don't be the one piling on saying you don't like the way she talks and all. Like, you can't be that dude. Like, I'm sorry, you can't. And especially coming from a black man, they're gonna look at you and they're gonna say, well, Stephen A agrees. I now am empowered to say that thing that I can keep in that quiet place. I can say it out loud because Stephen A said I could. So that is always the tricky dance that you and responsibility that you accept as a black journalist. And so I think, and even when it came to Joy-Ann Reid Reid's a friend of mine, and I didn't like what he said about her. She's already lost her job, right? There's a whole lot going on at MSNBC. You and I both know that. There's some political things that are happening behind the scene. She has been one of Trump's main critics. We know in this era that people who have been very boisterous and very ardent about criticizing him, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch the square. You gotta watch your back because of the way he's pressuring the media and pressuring networks. You know what it is. And so for him to sort of say, well, it wasn't about this, it was about her ratings. It's like, dude, we don't need that right now. We just don't need it right now. I get what you're paid to do. I respect the position that you have. As I've said many times before, there's a lot of younger black journalists. I called Stephen A. Batman. And the reason I called him Batman is because he's a symbol for a lot of younger black journalists. They want to be him. They see the position that he's in. He let them know by virtue of his position, his talent, the way he's ascended in this business, what is possible for a black journalist. Like, it's possible that one day you can get a $100 million contract and be at ESPN. That's important. And because it's so important, I know for him, this feels like an attack. And I get that. But I'm hoping what comes out on the other side of it is that membership, people at NABJ can have some private conversations with ESPN or with Stephen A. so that we can bring some level of mutual understanding and resolution. Because I think in this moment, if we all chose it, everybody would choose to celebrate Stephen A. Smith because of what he has accomplished.
Right.
And I'm not saying that celebration is not possible, but what I am saying is, like, everybody chooses to do that. Everybody is very proud of his success. So I hope he doesn't walk away thinking, oh, the community hates me or NABJ hates me. Erin Haynes, the president of NABJ, has communicated that she wants these lines of communication open. And sometimes it requires doing something that maybe is publicly a little risky to do to gain one's attention. And I know he's not going to take it that way. He hasn't, just based off his response. I get it. I get why he's thinking about his contributions to the organization and what he's done. And he's like, how dare you? I understand
Although,
that.
in fairness to him, and kind of a testament to his character, he says, I'm not leaving the NABJ. People should support it. We need it. It does things that are very important. And I think that is a great way for those of us outside the community to realize his connection to it matters more to him than anything else. But I am really...
And by the way, Chris,
Yes.
if I can just say real
Please.
quick, I think that connection is mutual. I can't
He
speak
is
for
not
the
feeling
but
that right now.
I know he's not, but listen, hey, listen, I've been in this career long enough. OGs done had to pull me aside too. Like,
Listen,
I know what that's like.
I get it.
It doesn't feel good.
I get it. Listen,
I get it.
I know what it's like to think that people see you one way and then maybe think they see you another. I get it. Life is long. It goes up and down. He's had more ups than downs, and he knows that. But this is a down for him. And we'll see what he does with it. And I appreciate your perspective so much. Very helpful to the audience. Jemele Hill, you deserve your respect as well. Thank you for showing why on the show tonight. Appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.